The historic 1938 match race between Seabiscuit and War Admiral was more than a sporting event, it was a defining moment in American history. At a time when the nation was struggling through the Great Depression, people were desperate for hope. What they found came in the form of two extraordinary racehorses whose clash became known as the Race for the Ages. War Admiral entered the spotlight first. The son of the legendary man O' he was bred for greatness. Powerful, perfectly built, and fiercely competitive, War Admiral dominated the racing world. In 1937, he captured the Triple Crown, winning the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness Stakes, and the Belmont Stakes. To many, he represented perfection, discipline, pedigree, and the East Coast establishment. Seabiscuit, however, was the opposite. Small, crooked-legged, and underestimated, Seabiscuit had a rough beginning. As a young horse, he was raced repeatedly with little success. Trainers overlooked him. Owners doubted him. He seemed ordinary, nothing like a champion. But everything changed when he was purchased by Charles Howard and trained by Tom Smith. Tom Smith saw something others had missed. Instead of forcing the horse, he studied him. He learned Seabiscuit's temperament and understood that beneath his stubborn exterior was intelligence and heart. Jockey Red Pollard also formed a deep connection with the horse. Together, this unlikely team began turning losses into victories. By 1938, Seabiscuit had become a West Coast sensation. His come-from-behind style and fearless spirit captured the public's imagination. People saw themselves in him, a fighter who refused to give up. The idea of a match race between Seabiscuit and War Admiral quickly became a national obsession. East versus West, privilege versus perseverance, champion versus underdog. Negotiations were complicated and injuries nearly prevented the event. But finally, on November 1, 1938, at Pimlico Race Course in Baltimore, the two horses met face to face. The race had no starting gate, only a flag start. This detail mattered because War Admiral was known to struggle without a gate. Seabiscuit's team understood this advantage. When the flag dropped, Seabiscuit broke sharply and took the lead. War Admiral chased closely behind. For much of the race, the two ran stride for stride, neither willing to surrender. Attention in the crowd was electric. Millions listened by radio across the country. In the final stretch, War Admiral attempted to surge forward. But Seabiscuit responded with determination. Under jockey George Wolfe, who replaced the injured Pollard, Seabiscuit pulled ahead and won by 4 lengths. The victory shocked many but inspired millions. Seabiscuit's triumph symbolized resilience. At a time when Americans felt beaten down by economic hardship, his story reminded them that perseverance could overcome even the strongest opponent. War Admiral, though defeated, retained his dignity and greatness. His loss did not erase his achievements, but added depth to his legacy. The rivalry between the two horses became legendary. It wasn't built on hatred but on contrast. War Admiral embodied power and tradition. Seabiscuit embodied grit and heart. After the match race, both horses continued their careers, though injuries would test Seabiscuit again. Yet his status as a symbol of hope was already secure. In the end, the 1938 match race was not just about determining which horse was faster. It was about proving that greatness can come from unexpected places. It was about heart triumphing over doubt. That is why Seabiscuit vs. War Admiral remains one of the most celebrated moments in sports history, a race that gave America hope.